Hi, do you feel overwhelmed when you are in Canva or when you are in LiveGood on the websites? Do you find it hard to find the information? In today's video, I am going to share the biggest reason, the main reason why it can be hard. And I'm also going to share if you don't think it's hard to find the reason why you don't think it's so hard to find the thing that you are looking for. So that focuses on today's video, and I'm also going to describe some small parts in this. And who am I to do this? Well, I have a bachelor's degree in the science of cognition, and I studied that at the university. And it was some years ago, but I focused on websites. I focused on because I thought it was so interesting to know all things, because I was kind of frustrated. But I can't find things. I can't, how bad is it? How it really sucks sometimes, depending on which website you are on. So this is something that you can have in mind, but also know that I spent years for my education. And I just want to give you some short glimpse of this, just to have a feeling why it can be like this. Because this is also something that can be good for you to have in mind when we're moving forward. Because I'm soon going to show you how you can create your own website in Canva. And it can be good to have some of those things in mind when you want to create your website. But today is not about creating your own website, just to give you a short glimpse of why it can be overwhelming in those websites. So, going down here. Now we're going in it's not really a walkthrough, but it's more about an analyzing of Canva. I start with Canva. And if you take a deeper look here, you can see that here you have the menu. And the menu is where you're supposed to find your information. So you also have here, you have another menu here. And if you want to create a design, you can do it here. You can search for something. You can search for something, and you can also search for something here. So this thing, what is the really main reason? And remember, it's important to remember, this is not, remember this is not about you. I say it once again. It is not about you. It is not about your level of understanding. It's not about what you have learned or not have learned, because this is about how they structured the information on the website. Because there are a lot of ways to do things so you don't need to have this. And maybe you have heard about interaction design. Maybe you have heard about usability design. You can have a lot of user experience. You can have a lot of words for it. And all of that is about the users, the person who uses the website. It's about their experience, but it's not all about their experience. It's, oh, sorry. It's about their experience from a human perception way, because we are human beings and we have our human perception, and it's something that works or not works depending on what you are looking at. And it's how about information is structured. And there are people who works with usability. They work as an user expert, an interaction expert, a usability designer, all those words, and they work with how a website is structured. If they work with websites, they can also work with mobile phones about finding information. They can do tutorials. They can see if the information is understandable for all of those, for the users who shall use the information. So this is a really big area. But now we're just focusing on here on websites. So why it's not about you, it's because this is something that if those who host the website take expert help and have someone, because they don't necessarily have this information, because they are maybe expert in some other areas. But if they take this area and having someone who do it for them, you can have a website that is more easy to find the information. Yeah, but it's a lot of work, and it's about analyzing, and it's about a lot of things to do, and some things you can do, and it depends on how much you're prepared to pay this interaction designer to do this thing, because it's not necessarily the interaction designer who do the actual website. It depends on knowledge, and it depends on, in some cases, there are people sitting, and you can find websites with a good usability design. And but it's very common, I think, to find, or it's because my eyes are on this. But if you go back here to this, what I told you about this menu here. If you go here, we're checking this one first on the left hand. And there are homes, nothing happens. And here, okay, this is how it looks here. You have a lot of information here. And let's go back. Templates. And suddenly you have a third menu here. So if it's called this one number 1, this one number 2, and here is a third one. When you have gone in a one level deeper. And if we, okay, wow. This is what really happens when I starting to analyzing websites. And I also can give you some information that I have spent so many so much time just analyzing websites because I think it's so interesting. It's really, 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 really interesting. Because the more deeper you go, the more usability problems you find. And that can be things that you can kind of do if they are big usability problems, or if they are can scale them, if they are big, or if they are not so big, if they just are small. But this is very common that I find what I found here, because now you can't even find this third that you saw in the other one. And if you are going to go really, really deep into this, you spend hours of analyzing a website. So suddenly you have more here to choose from. You have this second level here. And this is far too much information. Starting here, having 2 menus, and then having all this far much too information to be able to sort out for the human brain to see, because it's not intuitive where to go somewhere. Sometimes it is that, but in a user experience, and I talk in a user experience perspective, it's not intuitive to do this, to find the information you want. So I go back here, and then I have to go back one level again to come to this one. So far too much information that is spread out in so many places. And often one big thing to think of is to avoid more than one menu. If you're doing a really great one, you're having either this upper menu or you're having this left-hand menu. But I have also seen websites that have a right-hand menu, and that's not preferable. That's not really good to have, because the human brain, and in the westly part of the world, we read from the left to the right. And I can't say about those countries there you read from right to the left, but if speaking of the culture here in the West, we are reading kind of, if you think that it would be a big F here, the big letter F, it's how we read. They have investigated this, and it's how we read it, like a big F. And therefore you want to have the most important information here, but not in so many menus, and not, if you look at this one, you also have a lot of levels down here to find it. So it's so much information. And at the moment, what we can do, we can just accept that it is like this. Well, of course, people are some are getting angry, some are getting sorry, some are getting, and that's okay. But if you want to move forward, take this as some level of understanding and accepting it. Because when you are accepting it, okay, this is how it is now. And you don't know what will happen in the future. But it can be good to know, and you can start to think about this more if you think this is interesting. So you can avoid this when you want to create your things. But this is the really main, because this is huge of information. And if you want to go into this in a deeper level, or if you find yourself an interaction designer who could do this in a deeper level, it's also about how it is structured here before, if it's categorized. If it's categorized. So what a usability designer would do here, he or she would go through and look what is actually in here. And they were going to see, is things on the right place? They would also search for something that is called redundance. They would search for this thing there you have one place and a second place to do the same thing. And maybe there are more places, I don't know, because I haven't gone into this in such a deep level. But they are looking at, okay, here's two places. And if this is placed on the right place, it's enough with one place. One place for creating a design, not two. This is kind of something there with the developer think, oh, they really need to see this. But what actually, and it's about being helpful, but it's actually create more confusion. And here is about also going to see, is all those one thing? Or do you have the same information at some other place? And I'm not going to check this because, as you see, this is a lot to go through to see if there are on different places. So, and what I mean about categorizing things that can be in the same category. If you think about a library and you want to find a children's book, you're not going to the part of a library that they have adult books for adults. You know you want to find a specific children's book, and then you're not going to the adults part of a library. And depending on if you want a book for younger kids or for elderly kids, it's also different areas in the library. So if you do some think of this as the library where you want to find your children's book. You don't really want to find your children's book, but your children's book is something that you want to find information about in Canva. But suddenly you are in the same time both in the adults space and in the children's space. Both of the youth, the younger children, and the elderly children. So everything is mixed up. And also in a library, then you also have those special categorizes. So I hope you are with me what I want try to explain with this metaphor with the library, because this is something that affects you as a user. And also this thing about redundancy, with having information in more than one place. And here you also have a lot of things going on. It's also like a menu. So I think that even if I haven't went it through on a deeper level, I think this is also going to be a big part of redundancy. And they also suggest that you maybe want to try. And then you have like another menu of things to try. And then they also collect your latest designs. So that is one really important thing. But it's also one important thing that I wanted to talk about regarding websites. And it's called white space. And even if a white space not necessarily always is white, it's the professional name of it. It's what people talk about for having a common language. If you have developers and user experience experts and so on, they talk about the white space. And what is white space? Well, the white space, it's about here, for example, the empty areas on a website. Here, the white space, here it's empty. It's a part of a white space. And here is also empty. So it's a part of a white space. And even if this is blue, it's also kind of a white space because it's empty. But if you have a website that really is, they have thought it through, you have a lot of more white space than you have in this one, because it's also going to be overwhelming with all these things going on here. So it would be preferable to have a lot of more white space. So that is just some brief going through here. And if we're going over to here to LiveGood, if you see here you have what I talked about, white space. Here you have so much more white space. But you still have this thing with a different menu. And here you have all these things that you are going to find here. And here it's also about categorizing. And even if I don't tell exactly today, because that needs a deeper level, but it really is a lot of things to find. And some things that you need to find information about, you have to go like 1 or 2 deeper levels more deeper. And that also can be a problem if you have to go too deep and it's not visible. And that's also about categorizing. So my team, for example, here you have, suddenly you have a different view here. And you have to find here. And then you have to move more on with different things. But I also think it's when you, and I have even forgotten, because I have to check myself every time. Because if you want to find the rankings here, and what you need to be ranked, you can find them here. But you need to go a lot of levels deeper to find it. And therefore, it's not easy to find it. So if they took their time to hire an interaction designer to develop this thing, it would be more easy to find the information. And maybe they are having someone involved, but it's also about the knowledge from that person. And there are different ways of doing things more visible, more so you really can recognize it. So you see, it's the same thing. So that is why this is not about you. But then you think, but that's no problem for me. If you're one of those people that think, but this is not a problem for me, I can find what I want. And just search, and just go there and I just find it. That's good. Because when we find our ways to find things, but that is also, and what I want to really point out is that if you think it's easy, either you are that person that are looking until you find it. But it can also be about that you have used it so much, so you have learned the system. You have learned how it's built up. You have used the system. You have learned Canva. You have learned the LiveGood website. You have learned it so much, so you know where to find it. But let's say you want to have your own website out there and want people to really grab other people's attention. One thing that is good to remember that it actually is takes about 7 seconds for a new user who finds a new website to have a glimpse and looking and see. And this is subconscious. Do I think that I'm going to find the information I'm looking for on this website? If a person wants to find information about LiveGood and what you are presenting is machines for cutting grass, it's going to be confused. They are going to be confused. Oh, this is not the place. Or if you put in jewelry or something. Oh, 7 seconds. 7 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If they haven't got the clue that it's worth the time to move on searching on the site, they are lost and they don't come back. And this is also something that they have done studies about. So I wanted to share this with you because if you know a bit more about things, personally, I think it's easier to have some acceptance around the circumstances. Even if you maybe can't do everything right here and right now. But you can use your time to search. You can use your time, even if it's Canva, even if it's LiveGood. You can take your time to learn where to find it. And, well, maybe there are going to be upgrades. Maybe they are changing things, but over time, but you learn, and then you're taking your time like you're in a school, learning how it's built, or taking the time to search for it. And there are so many great possibilities, both with LiveGood and with Canva. So I really hope you're taking this information just as a brief knowledge to have a deeper understanding, but to have some understanding about this, so you can move on focus. Because when you are remembering that it's not your fault and you are going on to search, you are moving forward with your business instead of sitting here being frustrated. Because being frustrated, that brings the big results. If you just, frustration it's part of want to go move forward. But if you're getting stuck in the frustration, it's not going to bring you more forward. I hope that gets some sense for you. And if you're not already in LiveGood, you can find my link in the description below. And you can join my team here in LiveGood if it feels right for you. So take the free tour. It's about 6 minutes. And just watch it. And let's hear about it, what you think. And I help you to move forward and what your steps. Find out your steps to move forward from what you want to do. So with that, I want to give you this message. As usual, have a really, really great day. And I hope you have got some inspiration to bring with you today. Bye.